I struggle with landlords. It's one of the only businesses where we think we can provide subpar customer service because there's some stigma between landlords and tenants. I get to build wealth because I have tenants. You have to find a delicate balance between being a human being and running a business, and that's hard. But it's supposed to be hard. It's our responsibility to figure out how to do it in a way that takes care of tenants. The more you take care of tenants, the more money you make, the more wealth you build.
Today, we are talking with Henry Washington, the self-professed deal junkie that has amassed over 100 rentals as a real estate investor. He's the co-host of the Bigger Pockets podcast, and we get to hear his story of how he went from having a goal of just one house a year to knocking out about 5 deals in his first couple months. We get to hear a simple trick that landed him 4 duplexes for about $205,000. But the most unexpected treat was probably right at the end when he coaches my co-host Ebony through her fear of rejection when making offers off market and why he is able to make such low offers with high confidence. All that and more coming up next. Welcome, friends. My name is Brady. This is my co-host, Ebony, and today we're talking with the one and only Henry Washington. Welcome to the podcast, Henry. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm glad to have you on. Let's get right into it, man. How many doors you got? How long you been investing for, dude?
Oh, I don't know, somewhere around 100. I'm buying, I'm selling. And doing it since 2017, man.
2017? Okay,
Yeah, it
nice. Nice.
feels like longer than that.
2017. So coming up on 10 years pretty soon. I take it it's been a little crazy, been a little stressful the last couple of years, maybe?
Well, it's never not stressful. It's
A little
always
different.
stressful. That's kind
Yeah.
of the crux of it all. But the stress is worth it. Everything's hard, man. You just got to pick which hard you want.
Henry, what's your end game? What are you actually doing all this for? What makes the stress worth it?
Uh, the the short version is I want my kids to be able to be the people they're called to be
Hmm.
and not the people they have to be for money. I feel like all of us have a calling on some level, and a lot of us don't get to do the thing we're actually called to do because life is real and you got to have a job and you got to make money. And
Hmm.
maybe the thing you're called to do doesn't make that much money. And so I just don't want them constrained by dollars. I want them to be who they're supposed to be. And so that's why I do
Hmm.
this.
I love that so much.
Mhm.
So tell us this, what did life look like before you dove into the real estate investing?
Oh man, I had a 9 to 5. I did all the things I think you're supposed to do. I went to college. I got a technical degree so that I could make some money out of college, and then I got a good job, and I started making some good money, and then I realized that even though I had a good job and I made some good money, it was still hard to afford the life I felt like I wanted. And then I got married and realized that I made a lot of poor financial decisions before I got married, and now the weight of those poor financial decisions was weighing on more than just me. And all of this was scary and overwhelming, and I didn't know how I was going to make enough money to provide my now new family the life I felt like they deserved. And I had a panic attack and decided I was going to figure out a way to make extra money. And so I started looking up side hustles and all these ways I could make extra money. And I ended up finding real estate investing as an option. And for some reason, that resonated with me. It didn't make any sense. I didn't have any money. I didn't have good credit. I didn't have any experience. But something about it felt right. And so I just decided I was going to go figure out how to do it because there was a bunch of other folks all across the country who figured it out. And I figured if they can do it, I got to be able to do it too. There's got to be something to it. So I started to study everything I could about real estate investing. I went to every meetup I could go to. I talked to every investor. I was that annoying guy that was like taking people to lunch and asking a million questions, and some people took me seriously, some people didn't, because everybody does that, I feel like, at some level. But
Yeah.
after about 90 days of studying, I ended up finding my first good lead and good deal, and the rest is kind of history.
Awesome, man. What was your strategy in the beginning? Were you getting into fix
Strategy.
and flip? Did you? I mean, I'm sure no strategy, but like, what was your goal in the beginning?
My goals in the beginning, I still have my original goals. My goals were to buy one house a year for 5 years and then see uh, what was going to happen from there. And after I bought my first deal, um, and I was able to purchase it at a pretty steep discount, we renovated it later, but I was able to purchase it and then we rented it out. And I
Mhm.
didn't use very much of my own money at all to do it. And I realized that this was way more achievable than I thought it was, and I realized that this was way more powerful than I had given it credit for, and so I decided I don't wanna do one deal a year for 5 years. I wanna do as many as humanly possible, in 1 year, and so, I think we did, like, 5 deals in our first 2 months or something like that.
That is fast. That is fast coming out the gates, man.
Yeah.
Was it because it was that first one? Was it way bigger of a spread than you expected, just a really killer deal, or
Nah.
was it just mentally easier than you thought it would be? Maybe you had overcomplicated it in your head.
Yeah, the latter, definitely.
Okay.
Um, so I'll tell you the quick version. I got the lead. It was a friend of mine, needed to sell his house in 30 days. I knew the house. I'd been there many times. Said he'd sell it to me for 116. It was worth about 170. And I said, sounds like a deal to me. I'll buy it. I didn't know how to buy it. I had to Google how to buy it. I had to Google how to put it under contract. I did all those things sitting at work. I put this house under contract, and then I figured I needed some money. I didn't have any of that. I had about $1,000 in my savings account. So at my lunch break, I went to the bank, one of the banks closest to my office, because I didn't know where else to go. And I walked in there. It happened to be a local community bank that was not on purpose. It was just the bank closest to my office.
Hmm.
The guy standing in the lobby was the commercial loan officer. That just happened to be the guy standing in the lobby. He's not the person I asked for. Uh, I said, I want to buy this house. I physically showed him the contract. He took me into his office. He looked it up and said, this is an amazing deal. Here's some of the ways that we work like this. And he told me essentially how to get a commercial loan. So I would put down 15%, then loan me 85% of the purchase price. They loan me 100% of the renovation costs. I just need to come up with that down payment. He was like, do you have the 15% down? And I said, yes, I do, but I did not. And so
That's when you knew you were a real estate investor.
yeah, yeah. But for me, that was exciting because when I walked in the bank, I needed $116,000. And when I walked out, I think I needed like 20 something. So
Mhm.
that's a win. And then I talked to a bunch of investors that I had been building relationships with and asked them how the heck are they finding all this money to buy these deals. And one of them pointed me towards a 401k loan, to borrowing against my 401k to get the
Mhm.
funds, buy the house, rent the house out, cash flow pays back the 401k loan, essentially. Which I was like, great, that's a good idea. I did not have a 401k though, so we had to use my wife's. We borrowed that money, bought the house, rented the house out, and then the bank asked me to take out a line of credit on the equity. And he basically said, the next deal you get, bring it to me. We'll use the line of credit as your down payment, so you don't have to go find the down payment again. And then once you've renovated, you can sell it and pay off the line of credit, or you can refinance it and pay off the line of credit. So he was explaining to me how the Burr method works before there was like a fancy acronym
Hmm.
for it. And so that's how I did my first several deals. And that's kind of what started to define me as an investor, because at that point, early on in my career, I had money, right? The bank basically
Mhm.
said, we'll let you buy deals with none of your own money if you can use this line of credit. You just got to
Hmm.
be able to bring us deals that pencil like the last one. And so from that point, I just started to study everything I could about how investors find good deals. And I read books and podcasts, and I just built my business around direct to seller marketing, because that's what people do to find the best deals. And so I said, I got the money, I just got to find the deal. So I built this direct to seller marketing machine, and I still do the same thing today.
That's awesome. So I'm still hung up on like, hey, we did 5 deals in the first couple months.
Yeah.
What's the differentiator, and not to oversimplify it, but like, what's the differentiator between you at that season of life and someone getting into real estate where it takes them a year, 2 years to get their first deal? Was it just the
Yeah. I
direct to
mean,
seller aspect?
yeah. I mean, and you got to think this was 2017. So I always use this reference. Like, there's movies pre The Matrix, right? And then there's The Matrix, and then there's movies after The
Uh-huh.
Matrix, right? Because the special effects were so amazing in The Matrix that like our expectations for what an action movie just went up drastically. So if a movie came out pre The Matrix, like we have a different set of expectations for what we want that action film to
Yeah.
look like. So like real estate investing, there's pre-COVID investing, and then there's like post-COVID investing. Because
Yeah.
COVID
Absolutely.
sped up the market for online education. Everybody was stuck at home. They couldn't go anywhere. They were looking
Mhm.
for extra ways to make money. And so, if you think pre COVID, like people selling online courses, it was hard to do that, right? It was hard to sell online courses. It was hard to educate online if you were just a random influencer. But like
Mhm.
during COVID, everyone was forced to get comfortable with learning something online. And that also created an opportunity for a lot of people to become content creators and education in the
Absolutely.
educational space. And so
Yeah.
a lot of people between 2020 and 2022 learned how to be real estate investors. And so we've got a lot more competition across the country now than in 2017.
Hmm.
And so that was a very long-winded way of saying, like, your marketing dollar went a lot further pre-COVID than it does post-COVID. And
Yeah.
so, and so I'm not telling people like don't spend money on marketing. I'm just saying that it takes more time and or money to yield a similar result as it did back then. Um,
Yeah.
so back then, yeah, I was doing direct to seller marketing, and also like marketing is a function of the market you're in. So like if I'm in let's call it Dallas, Texas, and I send a direct mail marketing campaign, I can expect a lower response than if I'm in Northwest Arkansas, right?
Imagine
Because
that.
well,
Yeah.
it's just it's a bigger metropolitan area, which means
Yeah.
there's more people doing real estate investing. So that means people who have a home to sell are more familiar with getting marketing and then less likely to respond to it. Whereas if you're in a market where there's not a lot of investor volume, you could be sending mail to people who've never received direct mail from a real estate investor before, and your response rate's
Hmm.
higher. So it's all a function of your market, and it all works. It's our job to figure out how much of the resource is it going to cost me to buy that lead? And that
Hmm.
resource that it costs is either money or time. You can spend money on direct mail and get a result. You just have to spend enough to yield the result you're looking for. Or you can look for leads for free, but you need to spend enough time on that strategy for it to produce the leads you're looking for. We were talking pre-show about people making on-market offers, and I said they typically just cherry pick the deals that they think they would want to own, and they make an offer.
Yeah.
But the more offers you make, the closer you are to getting your deal. So it will take you longer and more time to make more offers, but you're going to get to a deal faster.
So, do you prefer, like, the bigger metroplexes like the Dallas,
No,
Texases, or do
I
you
invest in my backyard. Yeah, no,
Okay.
I don't go anywhere. But it's not because I'm like, some people are like, you should be a backyard investor. Like, all that sounds good. But like
Yeah.
in reality, your goals should dictate
Mhm.
your strategy, and your strategy should dictate where you invest. So like your goals should be some function of how much money do I want to make and in what time frame do I want to
Mhm.
make it in, right?
Mhm.
Everybody invests for different reasons because everybody's in a different financial place. So if you're an investor who you're like, look, I don't need money now, but I need money later for retirement, right? Then you're probably going to look at acquiring rental properties, and how much later will determine what types of assets you buy. If you need cash flow ASAP, then you're probably going to buy cheaper assets that cash flow now. If you need cash flow later, then you may buy more newer assets that don't require as much maintenance. They'll cash flow less right now, but in 10 to 20 years, they'll be cash flow monsters and they won't have a ton of maintenance, right? So like your goal dictates your strategy. If you need money now and cash flow is not important, like I don't need $200 a month, I need $20,000 in 3 months. Well, then you're probably going to flip houses. So you need to be in a market where that makes sense. So if your goals tell you how much money you want to make and when, that should lead you to the strategy that makes that kind of money in that kind of time frame. And then you look in your backyard and say, can I do the strategy that I need to do to reach my goals in my backyard? And if you live in a market where you can, absolutely you should invest in your backyard. But if you need to be a cash flow investor and you need cash flow now and you live in San Diego, like that's not going to work. You need to pick a market where that works. Real estate investing is a calling. Um, it's not, it's one of the few vehicles that as long as you don't quit, it's not get rich quick, but it's get rich for sure. If you do
Yeah.
it long enough, you'll build wealth. That's pretty cool. It's hard to say that about anything else. And it's also a responsibility to provide housing to people, which is a
Mhm.
basic need. And so I struggle not with tenants, I struggle with landlords because I think landlords and tenants, there's this tension always. It's one of the only businesses where we think we can provide subpar customer service because there's some stigma between landlords and tenants. Landlords will always tell you that they have some problem with tenants. And I just told you a horror story, but it didn't taint me to being a landlord. Like I get to build wealth because I have tenants. If I don't have tenants, I don't have a business. I don't get to live the life that I want to
Mhm.
live. I don't get to provide that wealth to my children when I'm done. So without them, I have nothing.
Hmm.
And and these are people who need a place to live. And so I think landlords, it's delicate though, right? Like you have to find a delicate
Yeah,
balance between being a human being and running a business. And that's hard, but it's supposed to
it
be
is.
hard because if it was easy, everybody would be a bajillionaire and own all the property, right? So you're doing it. It's our responsibility to figure out how to do it in a way that takes care of tenants. The more you take care of tenants, the more money you make, the more wealth you build. We have to stop treating them like there's some burden or like
Mhm.
they're a problem, but you don't have anything without your tenants. And we wouldn't accept poor customer service in any other industry. We wouldn't let people treat us a certain way, but with landlords and tenants, for some reason, we think we get to have poor customer service with tenants. So I don't know. That's just my
Yeah,
2 cents.
interesting. Like the stigma almost gives you an out, like a way to
Yeah.
justify it. Like, well, the
Yeah.
relationship's already, so whatever.
I think for a lot of landlords too, it's kinda like they feel like they're holding something over their head. It's my
Mhm.
property, so I can treat you however I want to. And I love that's your soul behind it, because that's how I am with my tenants. Like, you're like, "Why are you not going up on their rent?" Well, the properties are cash flowing, so why do I need to go up on the rent kinda thing, like,
Yeah.
so I get it, and I think that's beautiful. I wish there were more landlords who were like us.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You just got to take care of people. Trust your gut. That's,
What do you
that's,
think, Henry, what would you like to see change for the real estate investing industry or to help more people realize kind of what you're talking about? I know that's a lofty question, but
that is a broad question. I'll tell you the way I approach things. Like for me, it's people first. The money will make itself. Um, Like when you are in the business of being a landlord, you're in the business of buying property, selling property, renting property, but it's people who live in those properties and pay for those properties. Yes, you pay the mortgage, but you're providing that housing to somebody. Typically, as a landlord, you're going to buy a deal. And if you're buying a deal at a discount, you're usually dealing with some sort of pain. No one wants to sell their home at a discount for no reason. So they're selling at a discount because there's some sort of pain or problem they're trying to solve by selling the property. And then you end up renting to people, right? And you're going to deal with people's pain and problems when you rent to them. Like these are things that we need to understand on the front side. It's part of the cost of doing business. It needs to factor into how we underwrite our deals. It needs to factor into how we monetize managing our properties. Like plan for it on the front side so that when it happens, you're not upset about it and it's not blindsiding you. It's literally in your financials so that you can make a business decision or a people decision that is right by the person. Because if you're planning on X% of your profitability going out of the window each year because of vacancy or maintenance or a tenant causing you problems, then when it happens, it's already planned for. Like you're not, it's not personal. It's not going to put you in the hole. And I think that that's where landlords kind of screw up is we buy these properties and we want them to go great, and then the margins are thin, and then a tenant does some damage, and now your profitability goes out the window, and that hurts, and now you're mad. It's gonna happen.
Mhm.
So underwrite appropriately so that when it happens, you can make a less emotional decision, or that when you need to be flexible with somebody, you can be flexible with somebody. Um, you look at companies like Walmart. I live in Walmart land. That's, they're headquartered here. Do you think Walmart
Mhm.
is going out of business because there's theft each year? Do they like it? No. Do they want to mitigate it as much as possible? Sure. Do you think they plan for a certain percentage of theft each year out of their profits? You're
Oh
damn
yeah,
right they
shrink
do.
budget.
You're damn
Yep.
right they do. We have to operate the same way. And then you'll feel less emotional when things happen, when you're
Mhm.
prepared to handle it.
Okay, so tell me this. Where do you draw the line? Because
No, I
a
don't
lot of
know.
like people like me, I'm in my
I don't know,
40s, I have
Ebony.
a bleeding heart. So yeah, I mean, it's like you gotta figure out a way to draw the line. Cause like I have had tenants that have taken advantage because I sound like a 5-year-old kid. So they always have a sob story.
Yeah,
And it's like,
I
where do
don't
you
know,
draw the
man.
line?
That's a you question. Like everybody's different. Like that's just me. I don't have a blanket answer for you. Like everyone's different. Um,
Mhm.
you've got to figure that out for yourself and that tenant in that particular situation. And you got to do it in a way that doesn't uh violate fair housing laws. So good luck. Like
Exactly.
uh, uh I don't know. I don't have a blanket answer for you. I know that I know I have a model I follow, and that's just like
Mhm.
I want to make sure that my decisions are rooted first in taking care of people and
Mhm.
then in business. So I don't ever see a situation as profitability first. I see a situation as how do I be how can I handle this in a way that allows me to be a decent human being, but doesn't put my business in the hole. And a lot of the times, Ebony, it just comes down to like talking to your tenants like they're people. I think
Mhm.
because a lot of the times when I've sat down, when I've had a dispute with a tenant, when I've had to, when I've bought a property and I've had to raise rents because the previous landlord never raised their rents and they're paying a
Mhm.
fraction of what the rents need to be. Like I found that when I just sit down and I'm transparent with people, like they're cool. And you may not, they may not choose like I've had conversations with tenants where I'm like, look, this is a situation. This is how much it's gonna cost me. This is what I'm willing to do. And this is why I have to do it. And I share with them like the behind the scenes stuff that other landlords typically won't share with them.
Mhm.
And then
Mm.
they go, yeah, no, I get it. I get it. And here, that totally works for me, or I totally understand. I can't do that. So, what are my next steps? And then we'll figure out if they need to go somewhere else. But involving them in some level with the information that you have and treating them like a human being is typically helpful. And if none of that works, you probably just picked a bad tenant anyway. So,
Mm,
Yeah. So do
interesting.
you have any favorite acquisition stories?
acquisitions.
Uh-huh.
I typically buy off market, so I got all kind of acquisition stories. I bought all kinds of doozies.
What's the
Uh,
most banging deal? What's the deal where you were just like, this is
Yeah.
too good to be true, and it was actually true?
let's see. I bought 4 duplexes for $200,000. Um,
What?
yeah. It was one of my first deals I did with that business partner I was talking about. We were trying to buy a mobile home park this guy owned. He owned a
Uh-huh.
mobile home park and then some townhomes right next to it. And so I was driving for dollars. I looked up the county records. I saw the owner.
Mhm.
And then I actually saw the title stamp who he closed with, and I used the same title agent. So I was like, "Hey, do you know this person? Can you connect us?" And so she connected us. We went to lunch. He showed us around this property, and turns out he wanted way too much for it. And so we were like, "Cool. Well, you got anything else you want to sell?" And he was like, "I got some duplexes, but they're bad. You don't want them." And I'm like, "Sounds like I do." So we go look at these duplexes. They're trash. I mean, couple of them, 3 of them were gut renovations, uh, and one of them was semi-okay, but, um,
Mhm.
he was like, "Look, man, I just need enough to cover the debt and put 5 grand in my pocket." So he was like, "You pay me $205,000 and they're yours." And we were like, "Done." So we got the note, bought the properties, fixed them up, rent them out. Those things cash flow like beasts right now. So that's one of my favorite rental property deals.
Holy cow.
All because I tell everybody, you always ask if somebody doesn't have a deal they want to sell, you ask them if they got anything else. You never know.
That's a good tip. So it's
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
205 for all
It
4
is.
duplexes together, right? So about 50 grand a
Yeah.
duplex.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was, if you don't mind sharing, like what was the reno cost and about how much they're cash flowing?
Gosh. Gosh.
Ballpark.
Gosh, I don't remember how much the reno was. We probably spent, again, this was 2018. So we probably spent
Mhm.
about between 50 and 80K per duplex. And then each side of the duplexes rent for somewhere between probably around 15 to 1700 a month, somewhere in there.
Okay.
They're
For
doing
each
good.
one.
Each side, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's cash
That's
flowing. That's a good
crazy.
deal.
yeah. It's a good deal.
Holy
Yeah,
cow.
that's an excellent deal.
Yeah,
And you would
yeah,
have totally missed it had you not been like, what else do you got? And what else you
yeah.
saw?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's the nugget. Okay, cool. Well, I appreciate sharing your journey and your wild stories there. I want to jump into our tactic and give people something a little meaty too. Um, Henry, you already said you do most of your deals off market. You're going direct to seller, you're doing
Hmm.
direct mail and pay per click. Um, our audience is not. Most landlords listening to this are not doing direct to seller.
Yeah.
It's a little overwhelming. They don't have the time. They're just cherry picking deals. What are you doing right now to find deals on market? You're like, I'm not.
uh,
Rewind.
no, I am. I am. I think anybody who's not looking on market right now is leaving money on the table. We're in such a unique market now,
Mm.
where it's like you can find deals that cash flow in year one again. Um, you just have to be willing to make uncomfortable offers. And I think that that's what holds most people back is the fear of rejection. No one wants to make the uncomfortable offer. I have a theory. My theory is that every lead is a good deal. Every single one. Most investors look at their leads and they go, "Oh, this person wants 300,000 and it would only rent for 1,500 bucks a month. That's a bad deal." No, you're a bad investor. How much would you need to offer for that deal to cash flow? And then make the stinking offer. Like if you need to pay 150, who cares if they're asking 300? Like what somebody wants to sell their property for is between them and Jesus. That ain't got nothing to do with me. All I can do is pay what makes sense for me. And so what we do is I have my agent filter leads based on what we would hope would be some sort of motivation to sell at a discount. And the only filter you have on the MLS for motivation is time, right? So we
Mhm.
use 90 days on market or more. And so, you got to know your buy box. So where do you want to buy? What do you want to buy? Once you set that up with your agent, then you put some motivation in there. So my agent knows this is Henry's buy box. And then anything that fits Henry's buy box that's on the market for 90 days or more gets emailed to me every single week. And then my agent, we have a plan. And the plan is he takes every single one of those, he subtracts 40% from the list price, and he sends a text message to the agent that says, hey, I've got an offer for you. I know it's not what you're looking for, but I have an investor client. He's looking for potential decent deals to keep his rental properties. So I know it's not the money you're looking for, but we can promise you we can close in 7 to 14 days. We won't have any inspections. We won't have any appraisals. You'll be able to get it, and you'll be able to get this deal done quickly.
Hmm.
And all we're looking for is a response or a counter. Um, 90 something percent of those people are either going to ignore it or say nope. But you're not looking for
Mm.
that. You're looking for the 1 or 2% that is motivated and says, okay, well, here's what we can do. So like we did it last week. We sent 12 offers via text, verbal offers. We got 2 responses. One of them said, hey, we can't do that. They owe this much. And we said, okay, well, we can't do that. The other one was listed for 200. We offered 120. They countered at 150. I countered at 130 and we put it under contract.
Interesting. So I'd love to hear, man, like what the conversation looks like. Um, is your agent negotiating for you? Are you negotiating through text? Are you getting
Nah,
on the phone with the?
he negotiates for me.
Oh, nice.
I mean, we talk about, I mean, as people respond, then he comes to me. Well, I'm not analyzing any of these deals until I get a response. Like, I'm not going
Hmm.
to see any of these deals until I get a response. But once I get a response, then I'll go look at it. My agent and I'll talk about it, and then he'll go negotiate for me.
Gotcha. So you guys have a good relationship. You've been working with him a while. He knows your buy box well.
Yeah, yeah.
He's got a lot of free reign. Okay. What are the main things you're looking for when you're analyzing a deal?
I'll answer it 2 ways. If you're talking about during the acquisitions process, the only 2 numbers I need to
Mm.
analyze a deal are typically the after repair value and the renovation cost. If I have the after repair value and the renovation cost, I can give you an offer in 10 seconds.
Hmm.
Because it's just max allowable offer is ARV minus commissions minus closing costs minus holding costs minus renovations minus profit if I'm going to flip it. So whatever that number is, that's my offer. Period. If it's going to be a rental property, then it's a different calculation, right? Because as a rental property, I do the typical. I set aside 10% for property management, whether you want to manage it yourself or not. You still underwrite for property management because at some point you may not want to manage it yourself, and you need your properties to cash
Mhm.
flow when you make that decision. So 10% for property management, 10% for capital expenses, 5% for vacancy, 5% for normal wear and tear, 30%. So it's typically 30% that we're setting aside.
How do you determine if you're gonna make something a fix and flip or if it's gonna be a rental?
Whether I want it to be a fix and flip or a rental?
Yeah.
Uh, no, that's the answer. uh,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah, that was the answer to your question. Here,
Yeah.
think about it this way. I don't look at properties with an exit strategy in mind. I look at properties and buy them based on how good of a deal they are. Your exit strategies are your reward for buying good deals. So if you put on your exit
Mm.
strategy lens and you go looking for deals, you may step over $1 to get to a dime. You could walk past a deal that would make you $50,000 as a flip because it didn't work for you as a rental property. You may, pass up on a decent rental property because the numbers didn't work for a flip. Like for me, I'm buying screaming deals. If it's a deal, ideally, it should make money multiple exit strategies. That's how you protect yourself in an
Yeah.
uncomfortable market like this. If you only have one exit strategy on your deal, then you're running a higher risk. Like for me, like the last two properties I bought, like I bought one, I'll talk about the last one I bought. I bought it last week. We closed on it on Friday. I paid $80,000. It needs a $70,000 rehab. I can sell it for $270,000. So it
Mhm.
works as a flip. Am I going to flip it? Nah, probably not, because I actually think I can get the renovation done for 50 grand, and then I can rent it out for 15, $1,600 a month. And so it'll cash flow as a rental. It'll make me money as a flip. I'll make the decision about what I want to do with it based on what my business needs at the time. Do I need cash flow at the time or do I need cash at the time? If I need cash, I'll sell that thing and take the cash. If I would rather have the cash flow and I need the tax write off, I'll keep it as a rental. Like how you monetize your property should be based on what your business needs and what your financial situation is.
I love that. So that kind
I
of
do
makes me
too.
wonder, Henry, like you spend a lot of your time. I guess a better way to say is you love finding good deals. Like that's one of the things that pumps you up most about being an investor. Yeah, you
Oh man, I'm a
chase.
deal junkie, man.
You're a deal junkie. So did you realize that when you were first getting started investing, when it was just a
Yeah,
thought?
yeah, adrenaline rush when somebody
Yeah,
says yes to your offer. Hell yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So it didn't take you much time to figure out, like, okay, this is where I'm going to spend my time and energy as an investor. Because, like, I ask this because I meet all different types of investors, and I hate it when I come across someone, we have a conversation, and then they're just stuck in drudge, like they're not doing any of the things they like, or they're just like stuck in the wrong niche of real estate.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It seems like for you that was just easy. You're like, I love finding good deals. At least finding your lane was easy, is what I'm saying. What do you
Yeah.
say to someone who's like stuck in the wrong lane, or they're like, well, I could do all these things. I could be an agent. I could do this, and they just don't know where to go.
They don't have their goals defined yet and they don't know what they like.
Hmm.
I mean, we all know the things that we like, or they haven't done
Mhm.
enough deals to figure out what parts of the process they like. Like, you got to do some deals before you figure out what you like and what you don't like. And then once you
Hmm.
figure out what you don't like, that's your signal to go find a person, a process, or a system to replace that thing so you don't have to do it anymore. Because chances are you got to repeat the process. Like, very few times are you going to do a deal and you can just completely cut out certain steps. The steps are there for a reason, it's part of the process. So, if you don't like the step, you need to either have somebody on your team that can do it, have a process on your in your systems that can do it for you, or it's people, processes, or systems that solve the
Hmm.
problems. And then you just you do the things that you like or you don't like.
Nice. I love that. Get your feet wet a little bit more. Yeah. I know some
Yeah.
people can just overcomplicate it going in, like thinking, what if I don't like this? So I, I think that's good
Yeah, I
advice.
just think you got to do some deals, man,
Yeah.
and reevaluate. Do Once you do a few deals, you'll have a lot more information to help you decide how you want to push forward. You know, um,
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the times in this business, people make all these decisions about their business before they've actually done a deal, and you don't know what you're
Mm.
gonna like or not like. Like people say, "I wanna be a landlord because rental properties are a way to build wealth," but if you've never been a landlord and owned a rental property, you don't freaking know that. You could buy your first one and hate it. So go do a deal
Yeah.
and then come talk to me about it.
So for this off
Yeah.
topic, but on topic, but so for people who want to get into real estate but don't have a butt ton of money sitting around for all these contingencies, what would you suggest they get into?
I don't know, man. I think you should get into I think you should get into learning what finding a deal looks like. Like if you're new and you don't know what you want to do, then hone the skill that you need no matter how you want to make money. Because I don't care if you want to flip
Okay.
houses, rental properties, Airbnbs, short-term rentals, long-term rentals. If the one thing you need across all those exit strategies is you need a deal that pencils. So, like, if you don't know how you want to make money yet, or you don't know what lane you want to be in yet, learn how to find deals, learn how to analyze deals, and then just go find them. because the deal is the money. If you find a great deal, if somebody
Right.
called you tomorrow with a great deal in your buy box in your market, Ebony, you're gonna buy it. Like it's that's like the deal is the money. So learn how to go find deals if you don't know what your strategy needs to be yet. Because if you bring a deal to somebody, you're bringing them value. They'll buy it. You'll make money. You're the gatekeeper at that point. So that's what I'd focus on if you don't know what you want to do yet.
Oh, that's really your story. You found the deal and then you
Mhm.
found the money to make the deal work.
That's the way deals work,
Makes
man.
sense.
People want to go find money and then they want to go find deals. But if you had $1 million right now and you didn't have a deal to buy, it doesn't matter. So go find a deal. Money's
That's
easy
true.
when you have a deal.
Hmm, that's good. Well, I know we've been chatting for a bit. Henry, I could talk to you all day, but before we wrap this up, I want to do
Yeah.
a quick little 4-question fire round I did not prepare you for, so
Perfect.
that's your heads up. Okay, 4 questions. I'll take 2. What are the top tools you rely on for investing? Tools, software.
I mean, my life relies on some form of large language model, ChatGPT
Yeah.
or or uh or Bard or I love them all. They're so helpful. I literally use them every single day. So
Okay, number 2. What's a book that changed your life? And tell me what was the problem that it solved. It can't be Rich Dad Poor Dad.
that's funny. A book that changed my life. When I first started out, the book that was pivotal to me was The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller. Um,
Okay.
only because like Rich Dad Poor Dad, I read it and I loved it, but it's not a real estate book, right? It's like a how money works book, and it tells you that you suck at doing everything. Um, the but like as I was researching real estate investing, so you think of it like doing a puzzle, right? So if you're new, you're probably listening to podcasts and you're reading books and
Mhm.
you're getting all these puzzle pieces from all these different places, but you have no idea how they all fit together. You just know you got the pieces for the real estate investing puzzle. And now you're trying to piece them together to figure out how it all goes. The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller was great at providing like the frame or the edge pieces. It was the way to say like, here's the frame all these pieces go into, and then I could like, then it started to make sense. I was like, oh, that's what this podcast was talking about when it was talking about this. That's where this piece goes. Or oh, that's what. So it was a great way to like put some
Mm.
guardrails up for me to understand how real estate investing works.
Ooh, I love that. A little bit of a shortcut, if you will.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ebony.
So before I ask my 2 questions, do you think it's still something a good read and still pertains
Yeah.
to today's market?
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
So I have 2 questions for you too.
Mhm.
So what's your hot take on the real estate market or economy today?
Uh, oh man,
Everybody loves this question right now.
mm,
They do.
I think I already said it. Oh, I already said part of it.
There's good there's still good deals to be had on the maybe
There's
some people are
great
overlooking the
deals right
MLS.
now. There's not bad deals. You're just a bad investor. Like
Yeah.
here's my super hot take. I think investors who started investing 10 years ago up until 2020, like if that's the frame you started in, like 2010 to 2020, you're entitled. We started I mean, I'm in that boat. Like we started investing at the freaking golden time because if you started post COVID, you made a lot of money. Like COVID was great. You could trip and fall and make money. You could make terrible real estate investing decisions and make money because values were going up so good, so fast. Like it covered up your inadequacies, it covered up your mistakes. And now the market's not like that anymore. Like you got to know what you're doing now. And like it was so much easier to find deals back then. Again, because of what we talked about before. It was like it was pre-COVID. There was less competition, less people knew about it. It was more of a secret still. And now it's like everybody knows you can go make money in real estate. Like everybody's a wholesaler. Everybody like and so it's just harder. It just takes more work. But the problem is those investors, those who started in that time frame I'm talking about, we kind of got used to the comfortability of things being easier than it is. So that
Hmm.
now when the market is normal, it feels hard. And so everybody's like, oh, the market's tough and it's so hard out there right now. No, it's just normal. When I got started in 2017, rates were like in the sixes. that's where they are now. When I got like it's
Yeah.
rates aren't high, they're normal. They're low if you look at a scale of where they have been in the past. Like my parents bought a house at like 13% interest back in the day. Like it's fine. And there is an affordability problem, right? Like houses are expensive. And I get that. And when I ask people, do you think real estate prices are high? They say yes. Right? Do you guys think real estate prices are high right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In 5 years, do you think that same house costs more or less than it does right now?
More. I mean,
More.
hope if I'm being hopeful, same at best. But yeah, it's just even when it goes
That's
up and down,
definitely
it's still
gonna
going
be
up over the long haul. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So if houses are expensive now, but they're more expensive in 5 years, are they expensive now?
Mm.
No, it's the time to get in because they're gonna be more expensive later.
Yeah.
Hot take.
Funny thing
Interesting.
about what you're saying is, like, I feel so hit by the things that you're saying because I ended up buying my forever home on 2 acres. I got it 127,000 under the asking price because I wasn't afraid. But when
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about buying for my portfolio, I'm terrified of asking these people for and this is what my heart is in, so I don't understand. Okay,
Let's see.
I hear
We
you
turn
and
this
I'm
into a
listening.
Dr. Phil moment. What's your advice, Henry?
For Ebony,
Yeah.
she
She's
said it. I don't have to say a thing.
she's terrified to make
Yeah,
offers.
I gotta do
What
it.
you, I mean,
It's
look,
not I'm
it's
terrified of asking them to come down off of what they're asking for.
why?
So I just leave the deal on the table because I'm like, I don't know.
It's a fear of
Because I
rejection.
swear I did it for my
Here's
forever it is the but I knew that I had to buy this house. This is my house. I knew I had to buy it and I was like, "Dude, you're gonna take this or I'm gonna walk." And I knew I wasn't gonna walk and he took it.
yeah, I mean, look, and I want to differentiate here. I feel like there's a differentiator between on market and off market, right? So what we're
Mhm.
talking about is on market deals. Because when it's on market, you don't have a direct line to the seller, which means you don't get to ask them questions and understand why they're needing to sell at a discount and then work with them to some amenable solution. Like you don't have that freedom. All you can do is talk to your agent, and your agent gets to talk to their agent, and their agent has to talk to the
Yeah.
seller. So you've got two intermediaries. And so what you can't do is make a decision for somebody else. Like you can't look at a house and say, I want that house, but they want $300,000. And if I offer them $150,000, they're not going to take it. How do you know? You have
Mhm.
no clue. Don't make that decision for them. The only measure you have is to talk to your agent who can talk to their agent who can talk to the seller. That's too much work. So the only other option you have is just to make your freaking offer. If they want it, they'll take it. If they don't, they won't. It's not personal and it got nothing to do with you. Just make your offer. Now, when we're talking about off market, that's different because you are talking directly to the seller and you can understand those nuances and what it is that they want.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't just blindly say, I'm only going to offer you 110. I know you want 300. That's not the right approach off market. Now, I am not saying don't make your offer of 110. I'm saying how you do it matters. When I offer off market and I know I need to offer 110 and they're asking 300, I still make my offer, but I have a method for making disrespectful offers respectfully, and I follow that method. And when I do follow that
Mhm.
method, no one's offended. And that method, typically in a nutshell, is me showing them everything. I show them all my numbers, including how much profit I'm looking to make. But when I show them exactly why I need to make my offer, because I got to pay 6% to an agent, that's this much. I got to pay to renovate the property, that's this much. I got to pay holding costs of a mortgage every month. That's it. I tell them how much interest I'm paying on my to my hard money lender. That's this much. And when I show all that on paper and make the calculations literally in front of them, there's transparency. And so they see, oh, well, that's how you're offering me 110. Not that I'm just some a-hole who came in and said, I don't care what you want. I'm going to pay you 110. No one's ever gotten mad at me. They may not take my offer, but they're not mad at me. So both situations, you make the offer, but how you do it is different depending on if it's on or off market.
I love that. I love that. I was saying it's so good. Ebony got what she needed. She just left
She
the
just left.
recording.
She's about to go make some offers.
She's like, mind blown. I'm done with it. I was gonna say one book I would recommend to Ebony is called Rejection Proof. I was having a similar conversation with a friend a couple years ago about like
Yeah.
fear of rejection, and I had an insurance license one time. I was making cold calls, and like I just hated. I hated like people telling me no. And anyways, I read that book. It was so good. I shut it like halfway through because I got what I needed. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm done. I
Yeah.
got what I needed. And one of the big things was like, it's not personal. There's
Yeah.
a lot of reasons people say no. And in your head, you make it up to be one assumed reason.
Yeah, we're selfish. We all think it's about us. It ain't got nothing to do with you half the time.
Yeah. That's so true, man. Well, last question. Any advice for people who want to be where you're at, Henry?
I said
I
it
know there's no
already,
magic
man.
pill.
I said it
You
already,
did.
man. You got to learn how to find good deals. Learn what a good deal looks
Yeah.
like in your market, because every market is different, and then pick one strategy for finding deals. Just pick one and do it until it works. They all work.
Yeah, I love that, man. Cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Where can people find you, get connected with you, dude?
Instagram at the Henry Washington on Instagram, or www.seeyouattheclosingtable.com, all spelled out SEEYOUATTHE closingtable.com.
I love that. Well, thanks again for hopping on, having a conversation, man. I love your story. Thanks for just being honest and not sugarcoating and just telling people what they need to hear.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. We'll see y'all next time.